All right, here we are at the Black Pool, and as you can see, we look across the pool to the other side, and I think that we came up the stairs and looked out here somewhere, and the whole thing was flooded, but now we're going to enter into Moria, or Khazad-dûm. Khazad-dûm as the dwarves call it, and we should probably call it Khazad-dûm because they've all moved back in. Since the Balrog was killed, we've all moved back in. Even though the Balrog in Rings of Power appears 2,000 years too early or something stupid. I mean, basically, Rings of Power have retconned everything, and they're now outside the Tolkien canon. I don't know if they think they're doing any canon thing, but really they're just chucking everything in they can think of. And doing as much as they can. So let's have a good look around Durin's Threshold. So when the party, the fellowship first came in here, of course there was no lights, it was all dark. But the dwarves have moved in and they've got the whole place tidied up. This was all rubble and mess and skeletons and things in the book and in the movie. And now we're just going to go and we're going to head today a little bit through Moria. And I had an idea of what we were going to talk about, and I've kind of forgotten what it was. What were we going to talk about today in this? So here we go, up the stairs, and we're going to attempt to follow the party. We haven't followed the party terribly closely recently, actually, I've noticed. I went back and looked at the book, and we've taken a few different routes to what the Fellowship took originally in the book. So we're going to attempt to follow them through Moria effectively, and that means we're going to miss quite a lot of the game's Moria, and maybe I'll have to do a series of videos. We'll just do a tour of Moria and see what the whole place looks like. There are no other party members that really come back and do anything else in Moria apart from Gandalf himself. Spoilers, by the way. You realize that if you haven't read the books and you're watching this, you're going to get a lot of spoilers. So turn off now, read the books, and then come back. Or just like the video, turn off now and read the books and come back. Subscribe so you don't forget where I am. We're not going that way. We're going to go this way. So we're just going to keep walking along through Moria and see where we get to. Now, we've talked about orcs and elves. Let's talk about dwarfs. This place is full of dwarfs. And I don't know. None of the dwarfs in this game, and as far as we can tell in the canon in Tolkien, have no beards. They all have beards, and they all appear to be male, although I suppose in the movie Gimli says that dwarf women look just like dwarf men, with all the beards, etc., so maybe that's okay. But Rings of Power have introduced women who sing and knock down walls and things with their voices and come up with bats and stuff, so that's exciting. But as far as I can tell from what I've read of Tolkien, nothing there really. And the dwarfs are technically the only race in Middle Earth that have their own god. So they were created by the Valar Aiule, and they do worship a god. But it's kind of interesting, actually, this fantasy world of Lord of the Rings, because there's very little religion actually mentioned. I suppose it's when you have characters who are essentially gods themselves, or very similar to gods themselves, you end up with Gandalf running around the place, and Sauron, and even the Balrog itself. These are all essentially powerful deities. It was semi-deities anyway, semi-gods, and they're all servants of the Valar, who are the main gods in Tolkien's world. You've got the immortal elves. And everybody pays kind of respect to the Valar, but they're not really going out there swearing by any god's name or anything like that. So it's an interesting one, because quite a lot of modern fantasy novels talk, they give the world a hierarchy of gods, and then you get all the characters swearing, by such and such a god, and oh, such and such a god, that hurt. But Lord of the Rings doesn't do that, and Tolkien doesn't really do that. This is all good stuff. It's very easy to fall off things in Moria and die, because you fall into the limitless depths of Mordor. If I fall off this bridge, I get sent back to a respawn site. So I have to be a bit careful. There's a rather amusing thing. A buff you can get from the store, which is to give all mounts 20% extra speed. And the funny thing is that there are stables in Moria, and they have mounts that you can get a run on. And I have a feeling we're going the wrong way here. We are going the wrong way. So, just came down here to have a look. There are mounts that you can get a run on, and the stable mounts go at extra 20% speed. So the funny thing is that if you get a stable mount, which are supposed to be completely safe and you don't get attacked and things by them, you get a stable mount and they come around some of these corners here and they just fly off the bridges because they're going at 20% faster. So if you put on your 20% faster stable buff or mount buff, the best thing to do is not do it when you're in Moria, or if you have it on, make sure you don't take a stable mount. The stable mounts do go a little bit quicker from A to B, but it is important to be careful. All right, let's see if we can go in the right direction here. We're trying to get to the Chamber of the Crossroads, where Gandalf sat and looked and said, "I remember this place, but I can't remember which way it is." So we're going to go and see if we can get there. Let's go this way, down this path. We wouldn't have been going downstairs and things. So there's a path here we can follow. And as you can see, there's plenty of places to fall into the limitless depths of Mordor, and there are no... in a lot of the mountains and things in the other parts of the game, there's kind of an invisible wall that you hit on the edge of precipices and things. But in Moria, there's no invisible wall. If you go over the edge, you go over the edge, and you better hope there's something to stop you, or else you just keep falling forever and you respawn somewhere. Okay, so a few orc settlements in this place as well. So the dwarves have moved in and they're trying to clear out the orcs, essentially. And we're going to head up here to some quite spectacular structures. We're going to come up and see one now. It's a bridge across a waterfall that has pretty amazing statuary on the far side of it. We'll just go up and have a look. And here it is. Let's see if we can get the right place for this bridge. Don't want to end up falling into the limitless depths of Moria. And so, have a look at this. So this looks nice. Let's just get into my Hobbit's head. And there's... so, Moria has been done beautifully in this game, I think. I think you'll agree. Hopefully the graphics are okay. I'm operating on a computer that isn't terribly powerful at the moment, so hopefully the graphics come through. But I actually think having the graphics turned down might actually work better for the video, so you can give me some feedback on that. Drop a comment, subscribe, like, all that kind of stuff. Make sure, I'm aiming to hit 10 million people subscribed to my meanderings through Middle Earth, talking nonsense. And we'll see if we can actually make something that has absolutely no value at all to anybody. A bit of an earner? Who knows? Save me from teaching everyone. So anyway, here we come. We're coming down to the crossroads. And this is where Gandalf has to sit down and decide which way he prefers. And if you see here, we go to the middle of this. We have a path going up that way. We have a path that's blocked going that way. We have a path that goes off that way, up there. The path, that's where they came from. And then there's a road down here. And this is where, in the Chamber of the Crossroads, they camp for the night while Gandalf makes his mind up. And here's the well. Now, if you drop a skull down here, you wake up the Balrog, right? But the Balrog's already dead, because we know that. Sorry, spoilers, as I said. There's a player, hi. And if you go in here yourself, you'll probably fall into the limitless depths of Moria as well. So this is the Chamber of the Crossroads. But we're going to head off to the 21st Hall. And we're going to stop this video fairly quickly, because I'm not sure what the quality's like. And I don't want to run to the limits of this machine. Anyway, Gandalf decided he didn't like that way. He didn't like that way much, so he's decided to go this way. Time we started climbing again, I said. We've been going downwards for too long, so up we go. And then we have a long passage. This passage is mentioned in the book. A long passage with no right turns and left turns. It's just all one long winding passage. And it is a long winding passage, really. That's the last turn off this passage, and then we do some winding for a little while. So while we're winding, back to religion. Yeah, so I think it's interesting. I guess there's so many immortal beings, and dwarves are a kind of funny race in terms of having been really constructed by one of the Valar just for that Valar wanted his own race, I guess. Maybe the orcs, I guess, could potentially worship Sauron. That might be, but there's nothing clear that they have any particular allegiance apart from fear in the books either. So for a book with essentially gods in it and godlike beings in it, there's very little of the characters. Very few of the characters even mention gods. When we get to places like Gondor and stuff, there are no places of worship. There's nothing of that sort of thing going on. And I guess in some ways that reflects a kind of polytheistic society more than a monotheistic society. The dwarves would be kind of monotheistic, but again, even in Tolkien, you don't see any kind of dwarf temples or dwarf religious ceremonies. I mean, they acknowledge Aule as their maker. So it's kind of interesting. Here we are, still winding, and we've been at this video now for 13 minutes. So let's see how long it takes. What we're going to do is we're going to attempt to get to one spot where we have to stop anyway, because I have to take a big detour in order to get to to continue the journey. So that's where we're going to stop today. I'll introduce you to a guy. If you ever do play the game, he'll take you through the whole they delved greedily and too deep, or whatever it was, too greedily and too deep. So Saruman said that in the book, or did he say it in the movie or whatever? But anyway, and they woke up the Balrog, but that was in the Third Age, not the Second Age. And the Balrog chased them all out, and basically Khazad-dûm was out of bounds because the Balrog was there, although Balin later on, Balin was one of the characters, one of the dwarfs in there's a little break here, you get to meet a couple of guys. Balin was one of the dwarfs in The Hobbit, and he takes a party. I think a couple of dwarfs from The Hobbit come along as well, Ori and Dori or something. Owen and Glóin maybe? No, Glóin's okay, he survives. So Ori maybe? I don't know. A couple of the other dwarfs go along, and they mount an expedition thinking that the Balrog is no danger, and they try and move back into Moria, and they go well for a couple of years, but then things go badly. So that's where we're going to end up this story today. We're going to end up the story, or the journey, at Balin's tomb. As I said, there's spoilers in this, so Balin doesn't survive his expedition into Moria, and when the Fellowship arrive, they find the journal of Balin's expedition and realize that they're in trouble themselves, and that Pippin, by dropping something into the well, has awoken and the danger and alerted the Balrog that there are intruders in Khazad-dûm, and the Balrog pops up, and of course, well, we'll come to that in the next verse of events. There's a couple of detours we have to take here, because in the book, in the story, the Fellowship go through Moria, and as they're traveling, they block off a couple of routes, so they take refuge in the Chamber of Mazurbul, which is where we're going now. So here is the 21st hall, which is pretty amazing. I think you'll agree. Huge space inside. This one's mentioned in the book. Sorry about the cough. Still getting over this cold that I had. Hope it's not too annoying. I mean, I could theoretically go through these videos and edit out the coughing, but why would I do that? They're terrible anyway. So, anyway, we're wandering along. We're going to come up here, and this is the 21st hall, and they make their way. They see the occasional shaft of sunlight coming through, and in fact, the Chamber of Mazurbul has a shaft of sunlight coming through from outside, which lights up Balin's tomb. And we're going to head there. This guy over here, by the way, this dude here will give you the story of the... Oh, he's not talking to us because I've got the overlay off. But that guy there will give you the story of the... the Balrog encounter in the middle of the Third Age. And so here we are. We're heading up to the place where the Fellowship get themselves into Balin's tomb. They see daylight coming from one of these doors here, and they follow it, and they come in, and it's this room here, the Chamber of Mazurbul, and we can pop up. There's a dwarf looking after Balin's tomb. We can pop up to Balin's tomb. Here it is. And in Dwarfish that says, "Here lies Balin, son of Fundin, Lord of Moria," or something on it. And we should be able to, if we just get into the head here, we should see a shaft of sunlight coming through somewhere, but maybe it's been blocked off, or it doesn't appear. And then, so what happens is they they have to barricade these doors, because the enemy comes from this side, charges down this corridor. So they're charging down this corridor. There is an episode of this in the game. There's a whole lot of dead orcs here. Dwarves were very careless not clearing that up. And eventually they beat off the attack, and then are able to close the doors again and make their way out the back door. And this is where we're going to have to stop, because Gandalf's spell to stop the Balrog coming through blocks the whole passage. So, sorry, Balin. Blocks the whole passage, and we can't go that way. So what we're going to have to do, or what I'm going to have to do before the next video, is run this character around to the other side of this wall and pick up the journey on the other side of it. And we'll make our way to the bridge of Khazad-dûm, where exciting stuff happened. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll see you in the next video. That was number 10. Subscribe, like, comment, anything you fancy me talking about in future videos, or anything you want to hear about. I'll see what I can do. Good night.